A friend of mine is giving away quote-unquote the ultimate Volpofila imprints to 3 people. So if you want to participate, comment hashtag giveaway followed by your Discord name so you can be contacted. Hunter Munitions and I have had a rocky relationship. For level 100 enemies, it went from having HM in most builds when I was new, to using it in only some builds when I made the first recommended series, and later to using it in very few builds in recommended 22. So you might be noticing a pattern here, and after I made a video like this, any normal person would consider it a point of no return. And you would be right, if I wasn't crazy. You see, I like being right. And in pursuit of being correct about something I care about, I'm willing to go to insane lengths. For example, do you know why I spent 9 months making the first iteration of the Warframe calculator in Python? Even though when I started, I had never written a line of code in Python in my life, nor did I have much experience in any programming language. It was mainly because when I made the first recommended melee, the comment section was not happy whatsoever. But what could I do? It's not like I could mathematically prove them wrong. So I made a program to mathematically prove them wrong. And do you wanna know what I found out after spending 9 months of my life making a calculator? I found out that I was wrong. And so was the comment section. Back on topic, so why did I stop using HM in most builds at level 100 by the time I made the recommended 22? Well, it is simple, the calculator told me it wasn't as good, and to be fair, under the testing condition that is indeed the case. But there has always been one problem with the way the calculator worked in regards to HM, and that's the fact that it couldn't stop shooting at an enemy when it became half dead, which is how people said they use Hunter Munitions. I'm not up to date, so I don't know what threshold people go by nowadays, but I will just assume it is still 50%. So what did I do about this weakness I had realized in the calculator, you might ask? Well, I closed my eyes, turned around, and pretended it didn't exist. Because there was nothing I could do about it in the Python version of the calculator. But something happened after I made this video. I noticed that with the new calculator, it is theoretically possible to test HM exactly how people use it. Basically skipping enemies once they reach 50% of their total health plus shield. It was finally possible to have a foolproof mathematical answer and put all argument to rest. So now that I've developed it, let's see if I was correct in saying HM is not that good at level 100. Or maybe the comment section is correct in saying otherwise. Let me show you the findings and you can see for yourself. Let's have a look at Corinth Prime. I did some tinkering and this is the best build I could come up with without including Hunter Munitions. It finished the test at 45 seconds. Think of this number as the kill time, so the lower the better. Now look at the HM build, which finished at 48 seconds. As you can see, at this level it is slightly worse. I also wanted to check if skipping enemies is even a good idea or not. And here's what it will look like if you killed every enemy before moving on to the next. And indeed, 51 is certainly more than 48. Of course, just Corinth Prime alone is not proof enough to prove anything. So next, let's have a look at a high fire rate weapon. So Tenora Prime it is then. This is the best build I could come up with at 47 seconds. A slight side note for those of you who have seen the 2022 recommended series, the reason Tenora kill times are comparatively so long here is because of the newly introduced targeting delay, which simulates the time it will take you to aim at a new target, since you're not an aimbot. This way, the false gap between automatic and semi-auto has officially been sent to the Shadow Realm. Now, back to Tenora. This is a 47-second build. You might notice the presence of galvanized scope, which I don't recommend using because it ain't as good in actual missions, but it looks better due to full headshots that this test provides. With critical delay, the test time goes up to 49 seconds, which is slightly worse in a controlled environment, but much better in missions. Most of the time anyway. And here's the HM build at 57 seconds. This is way worse, and to confirm, without 50% skip it would go up to 59 seconds. Now that we have looked at a mid fire rate and a high fire rate weapon, let's have a look at something super slow, which would be the IQ. Showing up with a 68-second result, the IQ is the weakest of the bunch for general use, and the HM build goes as high as 78 with skip enabled and without at 85. The skip makes a noticeably bigger difference here, but nowhere near enough to beat the non-HM build. I had more examples to show, but I feel that's more than enough. So yeah, Hunter Munitions is most certainly not a good option for most weapons at level 100. There are exceptions, but saying HM is a good mod at level 100 for most weapons is most certainly an incorrect statement. The direct build performance aside, there's perhaps another reason that people seem to like HM even at level 100, and that might just be the testing method. You see, a lot of people test like this, which doesn't represent an actual mission of any kind. Heavy enemies are only about 20% of all enemies on average, so claiming an all-heavy test to be a good measure of a build's effectiveness is simply incorrect. Some say if it can kill a heavy, then it can kill some trash mobs. But that just results in builds that are min-maxed for killing only heavies and struggle against a more realistic enemy composition, at least in comparison to builds made for real missions. That's why you should use a proper test group. Here's a good example of one for Corrupted. Here's one for Corpus. And here for Grenier. Or alternatively, whenever MinMaxer'sDream is finished, you can use it for testing instead. I've even included a developer build in this video's description which has the weapons I talked about as well as a few others. So go on and see for yourself what your build can do, and which build is your ideal build. Just don't test against 20 heavy gunners, use the test all instead. Once again, if you want to enter the quote-unquote ultimate Volpifila imprints giveaway, drop a comment with hashtag giveaway followed by your Discord username so you can be contacted if you win. For those of you who watched till the very end, if you're wondering why I didn't make any new videos for over a month, I got a cold which triggered a pretty bad case of hives, which I still haven't gotten rid of, and later I got another cold, so suffice to say I have not been having a good time. But at the very least, the recommended rifles video is probably not too far. And who knows, if my internet is stable enough, I might even stream the process of finding the recommended builds. And with that, I'll see you guys next time, and bye bye!